let's begin with this session, the introduction. So we are going to discuss. Okay, so when we'll go through the training, what are the content that we are going to discuss in this entire training session? So let's go through this. So we'll go through the introduction. I'll be having this purpose of D365 Finance and Operations. That why do we use this? What is the purpose of this entire application? This is an ERP, right? So we have to understand like what does this ERP do, how it is competitive with the other ERPs in the market. Then we'll go with this evolution from AX 2009 and how it came to 2012, and then how is it going in this D365 Finance and Operations? What were the differences in the prior versions and the one that we are currently using? Key improvements in architecture and the deployment. So what the architectural change on the AX while it was improving from the previous one and the other new ones, right? So all these things you'll see. Then the architecture overview. This is like what is the three-tier versus the n-tier architecture. So when we were in AX 2012, it used to work with the three-tier architecture, but in 2012, sorry, in D365 Finance and Operations, compared to AX 2012, it has started using n-tier architecture. What is n-tier? How it is better than the three-tier? Right, we will discuss this and this D365 setup and server architecture, how this server architecture works for you, this entire thing that we'll go through. Cloud-based model, pros and cons, how beneficial this cloud-based model would be when you are using it, and where do you think it is going to be beneficial, for you, and where do you think there would be some chances of you having some sort of disadvantages of having this cloud based. So I think many of you might simply know then the losses or the disadvantages of this cloud based environment. The very best is like, though there is very minimal downtime or downtime close to nowhere, like they say that it will be up for 99.99% of the time. There are still 0.01% of the chances that it might go down. Right? Whereas when you are working with the local servers, the server is with you or on premise, this is always available. No internet, required for connecting to the servers. Also, so there are many things, but again, and also the ping issues. So there's no latency issues because you are working right into the server where you are located. But in case of these guys, with the cloud is actually on the data centers. Now, if somebody, if a data is actually hosted in a data center of Europe, and you are trying to connect from Australia, obviously there will be some lag getting the response back. So that kind of issues will be there, but there would be benefits also. Like if you are into this data centers, you have minimal chances of losing the data, which is very easy with the data migration. The on-premise. I have already seen this with one of my client. They who lost their DB, entire production DB, because of their on-premise systems got flooded with water, so they could not recover it back. Many things can happen. Okay, then comparison with the legacy systems, we will do this, the comparison which we have also discussed previously. The key differentiators and enhancements, technically we will talk about it, how it was different in the coding when we were doing the coding in 2009, how it is different in 2012, and how uh, fast it has changed into D365 Finance and Operations. Like, what do we do now exactly? We will also go through Azure and licensing, like introduction to Azure and D365, how this Azure is playing a key role when you are doing this entire work. So be it your Azure to deploy your virtual machines, or Azure to use the DevOps, correct, everything. So it is all circling around the Azure itself. So that's how we need to understand why the Azure is important in the case of D365. Also licensing and licensing models and considerations. So we'll also go through this, how the licensing model works, what kind of licenses do you need when you are actually working with these machines, technical licenses are different, but when the users are actually using the licenses to use it from the front end, they have a different set of licenses. So finance license, SCM and operations, right? Activity license, member license, all these different licenses are there. We'll see the cost of these licenses and how to procure them, right? Then we'll go into the reporting and the BI tools. So we'll go through this. We'll see some SSRS reporting. How do we do this SSRS reporting? That's one. Also, so you guys are aware of the SSRS reports. If not, then these are the reports which are usually being used to print all the invoices, bills, um, you know, text documents. So if you will see, if you have been purchasing things from the Amazon, then every product that you purchase has some, details pasted on the box. That detail is actually being printed on the SSRS reports, or the design is similar to the SSRS report designing. Then comes the Power BI integration. So there is the Power BI integration. So we are not going through the Power BI exactly. That's a different training. But here, what happens is D365 Finance and Operations provides you the embedded Power BI. So there's like you have the capability, a certain to certain capacity. You have the capability of using the Power BI tools inside the D365 Finance and Operations. That is called the embedded Power BI in D365. We will go through it. We'll see once what kind of reports that you can generate from the embedded Power BI. Okay. That's one. Then task recording and trace parser. We'll see how to record the tasks to generate the unit test when required, and also trace parser in case you are doing some debugging and sometimes it happens your debugger is not working. And on top of that, let's say you have some bug or issue which is appearing directly in the production environment. Now that's a rare challenge. Nobody would want to be in that situation, right? If the issue is coming into the production environment directly and you are being pressurized to debug and identify an issue quickly, so sometimes you do not have enough time to to move the database and reproduce it in your dev machine. In that case, a trace parser is very handy. You can directly run the trace parser in production environment and reproduce this error, and then just take this ETL file back. And once you have this ETL file back, you can do the analysis in the trace parser itself to identify where the error could have been. Okay, so those are the specific points we will go through. Then comes the development environment. We will go through the Visual Studio integration. We'll see how this Visual Studio is connected with D365 Finance and Operations. We'll also see there are other things like once we get inside the Visual Studio, we'll go through um, the integrated part of the D365 extension, which is D365 menu, and then we'll see what is the difference between these views we have and the models that we have inside. Okay, and this classic view versus model view will be there in the application explorer to see how the earlier view where we used to have the AOT. Those who have actually worked on this, be it 2009 or anywhere, so they know that this AOT was like application object tree, which used to have all the components at one place. Now they have provided you one more view where you can see according to your model, the model that you have created, you can see all the objects per model as well. So that we will see inside the Visual Studio. We will go to the concepts of the customization. So once we go into the actual development, we will understand what we have in the overlaying versus extension. So earlier in the previous models, we used to do the overlaying. We used to write down the code on top of the existing code, and by doing so, we were allowed to make changes in between the code. But since Microsoft has gone, on cloud, and they have to do the frequent, upgrades, they do not want people to write down the code in between because it gets very difficult for them to keep everyone on the same version, which is their motto right now. when people do not take the upgrades, it becomes very difficult for Microsoft to keep moving with the cloud version. So they have stopped this overlaying concept and they've brought up the extensions. If you have the extensions, Microsoft does not care about your extensions. They can simply push whatever changes they have into your production environment. If it and your extensions will be uh, coping up with the existing code of the Microsoft. It's not written on top of the Microsoft's code, so it won't break anything for Microsoft at least. For you, it might break, but the reason for you would be you might have used the similar things that Microsoft is already using, the same names of the objects. You just have to do some whenever you do the upgrade. What is the best practice that we suggest is do one thorough testing, one round of thorough testing of all the important processes that you go through. For someone who uses the SCM, we ask them to please go through all the production and the manufacturing related developments, whatever we have done or customizations we have done, because standard anyways will be going good. All the customizations you go through, and if the person is from finance, go through all the payments, all the financial menus, so that you understand whatever the customizations we have done are working as expected, and if you see any issues, we might have to fix it on our own. So that are the things that's the thing that Microsoft benefits with this, with overlaying versus extensions. Then model management and the packages, we will see how do we manage our model. So when we are creating our when we start doing the customization, we cannot do the customization, like I said, we have to create the extensions, and we cannot do the customization on the standard models. So all the code is actually has been packaged into different models. So to be able to do the customization, you also have to create your own model. So we will see how to create our own model, and then the packages. How do you use the packages? Like once the model is there, you have also created your code. You have to deploy this code to somewhere else, right? You might have to deploy it to test environment. Obviously, nobody's going to test it in the dev machine. So you have to deploy it into the test environment. You might have to deploy it to the further to the UAT, and finally, once the user accepts it, you will move it to the production. For that, you have to generate the packages. We'll show you how to generate the packages as well. Chain of command and event handling. So we have to go through the chain of command. We will understand how this extension works exactly, and chain of command and event handling. So chain of command is actually used for the extensions of the classes, or not only the classes, I would say the code, because you can do the coding in the form and the table and the views everywhere in the CRP. So it's the extension of the code can be done by the chain of command. But if you are talking about an object, a regular object like a table of view, you can directly extend it with the extension button when you right click on it. So there are many options. And event handling, again, what is the difference between the chain of command and event handling? Why do we use the event handling, and what is the point of having the chain of command as well? These are the customization and the extension models that we are going to learn. Going further, we will also learn the data model and the extensions. So we will understand about the primitive data types we have. So there are so many. Basically, data types. So there are different types of data types we have in D365. You guys are aware of the primitive. So primitive data types are the the very basic data types that you use. It's like integer, string, real, float. What else do we have? Enums, right? So all these are the primitive data types where you store the value in the final form, which is in your database, right? Those are the primitive data types, and almost all the technologies are following the same. Now here comes the different data types in the and the base. Now there are two more data types that you can see in this in ERP would be base enums and EDTs. So base enums are nothing but the enums only. So you guys are aware, maybe you guys are aware of the enums if you have worked on the any technology language wise. So enums are, if you want to show the value in a certain set of, I mean, if you want to allow user to select the value in a certain set, like some status. Okay, the status could be failed, passed, or none, right? So these three values are there, and you don't want a user to fill any random value apart from these three. You have usually for the gender, right? So on the gender also you have this, you have male, female, trans, and so on. So these are the specific set of values that you want, and you do not wish users to fill any random information over there. In that case, we usually use the enums, base enums. In the base enums, you give the set of values that you want, and then you assign it to some field of the data of a table. So when you will use this table field anywhere, and the user will try to fill some information, they will see a drop down or the lookup where they will have a certain set of fields, and they have to select one of those, like the country. So when you go and select on this in the drop down, you see all the countries, and you have to pick a list of it. You cannot simply write down any random thing. It should be one of those countries only, right? So that's how the base enum works. EDTs are the name suggests extended data types. Now, it is the same data types that you have on the primitive or the base enums, but these are the extended data types. So what is extended data type? It's like, you know, you have a string. So let's say you are creating something called, a purchase order number, right? A purchase order number has been created, and this purchase order number is supposed to be 20 characters. Now, this purchase order number field has been used on like minimum of 20 tables, 20 different tables. Now I cannot set this 20 characters string on each and every place manually. Whenever I'm creating this new table, so I have created purchase order header, I have created this purchase ID, purchase order number, and then I've assigned 20 characters of the string. Then I'm going to purchase order lines. Again, I have purchase order number. I'm placing 20 characters as string. Then I have some other table where again I'm adding this like purchase invoice, or I have purchase invoice lines. So many tables are there, right? So for each and every line, I cannot simply keep on adding this, keep on adding this number 20 characters string, and other properties might also be there, right? Whether it is allowed to edit or not, all these properties. So that there might be a manual error, a human error. So somebody would have done all the things good in the 19 tables, and 20th table they forgot to make this either 20 characters or made it editable or anything that may go wrong, right? So that would create some data inconsistency in the system. So what EDT does, EDT will give you, one certain, you have to create a single object, a reusable object. And here in the EDT, you will create a purchase order number EDT. Now in this purchase order number, you will define its type would be string. So you are using a primitive data type on this purchase order number EDT. So EDTs will always have one or other primitive data type only at the end of the day. But EDT will have the string type, and it will also have the number of characters this string has. Also, the other properties like what is the label of this string, what could be the name, and the other whether it is allowed to edit or not. All these things will be already set into the EDT. Now, once the EDT has been created, all you have to do is whenever you are creating this field in all these 20 tables, you just have to keep assigning this EDT everywhere. Okay, so if you assign this EDT everywhere, all the properties of this EDT will automatically flow to this field. So this reduces the chance of the error. Also, how it is beneficial? Let's say in future, since you have used your all 20 characters of the purchase order number, you want to increase it to 22. Now, you have to increase the numbers. So once you are increasing the number to 22, the benefit is you just have to update it at only one place, that it is into EDT. You just go to EDT and update it to 22. All the places, all the 20, 25 tables, wherever the EDT has been used, everywhere it will automatically change to 22 characters, right? So that is the reusability and the minimization of the minimization of this human error. So that's how the data type works. Okay. Then we have table view and query extensions. We will also learn about the table views, how the tables work. So tables are the actually where you are storing the data at the end of the day. Views are like by adding multiple tables. If you want to see some joins, based on the joins, you want to see some data with the relations, but you don't want to actually, you do not want to do that in the real system, real time. You just want to create this view and want to use it somewhere else in the form, or maybe in the query, or maybe in a report. So you can create a view. In SQL, we do it very frequently. We will do the same thing here as well. Views are non-editable. You cannot make modifications to the code in the view. Okay, so these are the things. Then the query, here comes the query. In the query, it is similar to view only, the query, but query gives you far more, options to work with the query compared to view. Like you can add the ranges, you can sort the data, you can use the query at you can even at the runtime you can add more data sources to make the connections with the further tables. So the query gives you more versatility. Views are fast. That's all I could say about the difference in your ask. Most of the time, both works the same way. So table views and queries. We will understand this, and we will also see how to create an extension of these items. Right. So where do we create the extensions usually? When we are working with the standard items, the Microsoft piece of code. There you can do the extensions. If we say that what are we doing with the the custom model that you have created, you can also create the extensions of the model that you have created. But that makes no sense because it's your model. You can directly override the code of your original object as well. So extensions are not required on the same model. We can go to the data entities. We will understand what are the data entities. Now, data entities are again the views only. Same the view we have the data entities, but data entities are being useful to export the data. So this is where we do this. That three different types of data entities in basic, composite, and the aggregate. Right. So we will understand what is the difference between these and how to create the data entity itself. Now, when you create the data entity, what is the benefit of creating the data entity? Data entity works on the data management framework. There's a framework that has been created by the Microsoft. This framework helps you export and import the data. So it helps you integrate. It gives you the option to integrate through the file management system, through the recurring integrations, as well as it gives you an option to work with the OData API calls. So three different sort of integrations that you can do. The fourth integration that you can do with this BYOD. So I guess Naveen or someone was asking this. So fourth is going to be the BYOD that you can help with this data entity itself. Okay, so these are the things that you can do with the data entities. We will learn the integration with the data entities. Then we'll go to the code and classes. So now we'll go to the classes. You will see there are classes called the runnable classes and the regular classes. So what are the runnable classes? We'll go through it and how it is different from the regular classes. Then what is OOPS concepts, right? You guys are aware of object-oriented programming concepts. Not all the concepts work here in X++. So this language is going to be X++, and not all the OOPS concepts are working effectively. Some of them are being, left for a certain reason. So we will understand which particular concept of the polymorphism specifically is not working here. Then we'll understand the new keywords in the D365. What are the keywords they are using, like this, and specifically this keyword, which is we use mostly. Then first only. There are so many keywords that we use, so we'll understand about those. Then we will learn about the exception handling. So whenever you are writing your code, you have to do the exception handling there. You do not want to system throw this unhandled exceptions, and your process breaks in between with very hard stop onto the process. You do not want it. You want this to be executing properly, even if there is any error. The error should be very much uh, readable for the users. Right, you might be technical, your users are not. So we have to make sure that the errors are very readable for them and not very technical. So we have to do the exception handling. We'll also learn about the delegates and how it works. So delegates are like similar to, we have extensions created. We have the delegates also, and the delegates are being used to push the data in between. So whenever the standard code cannot provide you any option to make any modification on their standard code with the extensions with the COC chain of command, and they still feel like users might need this for their customization, they provide you delegates. So you do not change a bit in their code, but you can use their code and you can create another branch of this, like they are running in a certain direction. You simply use the delegate, and you will start working on your own as well. So there will be two set of works will be worked together. So they will do whatever they're doing. You cannot change there, but you can use their output, and you can do some other piece of code. So that's how we can do with the delegate. So macros are, defining the values against these hashtag values, hashtag tags. So you have the hash, some value, and inside that you are writing some number. So that number will be available everywhere you are going to use the tag. So that's how the macros work. We will see how the macro classes can be created and how do we use it in the class in our classes while doing the code, and how it is helpful for us. The same thing, it also provides you the reusability. So once you have created, like if you are creating the country codes, you cannot create all 200 plus country codes every time you are writing your language, right? Sorry, classes, right? So it's like if you are using it in 10 to different 15 different places, what you can do is you can create a single macro class where you will define all the country codes there. And once you are going to use some other whenever you are going to use it, you simply use this macro once, and whatever the variables you have defined in this macro all will be called directly outside and the classes wherever you are using it. So macros are useful when it comes to reusability of the constant data. Okay, so or the hard coded data, I would say. Okay, let's move further. We have UI and services. So here we'll learn what are the form patterns we have. So how to create the forms for everything that you see in the front are actually forms, and there are the form patterns. So each form can be displayed in a different way, and Microsoft has provided so many different form patterns. You have the custom form pattern as well. But I don't think that you would ever need the custom form pattern. You will just use the existing form patterns, and it is going to display you all the different, requirements that you have. So sometimes you have to create a form for the parameters. Sometimes you have to create a form for displaying all the information from the table. That is a grid. Sometimes you are displaying the form as a dialog itself. You do not need to show the entire, page itself. It's a small area which will be covered with this information. So those are the form patterns that you will be using. Then you have the menu items. The menu items are the path to the form. So whenever you have to open a form, you have to go through the menu item. So how to create a menu item and assigning a form, you will see this. And the menus. The menus are like, so somebody was telling me that they have worked on the finance. So finance usually, has usually uses the menu items like accounts receivable, sorry, accounts payable, and then you have procurement and sourcing. Those are the different modules that they use in the tax module. These are the modules that the finance people use usually. When it comes to SCM, they are using like inventory management, accounts receivable, and your warehouse management, and production control. So there's so many menus. Now, what are these menus? These menus are actually holding a similar type of work. So if the SCM related work or the warehouse related work, all these forms which are related to warehouse will be under the warehouse management. All the forms or the batches or the setup related to the accounts payable will be under the accounts payable model. Sorry, menus. So these menus are there, under which menu you have to place your form through the menu item that we have to make a flow for it. We'll see all of these things. Then we'll have the tiles that you see on the default page, how to create a single tile and how do you bring the value on the tile. We will also see the compare tools when we will be importing the data, how to compare these tools, how to compare the data, what you are importing right now, or whatever the code that you're importing now, what you have in this existing system, how it is different. So all these things that we can compare to make sure that we are not overriding anything that is required for me. You will also understand the OData services that we have. Again, from the data entities, you will understand when we create the data entities, we'll also have the option to see the OData services as well. We'll see how to create the OData services and use it. in the system. After that, we'll learn through this security framework. So in the security framework, we'll learn how what is this XDS and security model we have. Security model is usually to be able to control users from accessing the items that you do not want them to. Right. So there might be a few things. So it happens everywhere in the organization. So the people with the higher roles have the better privileges. They can access so many things. Or if I simply talk about the HR module, so I mean I'm talking about the organization with the HR. So HR can see the say the salaries and the compensation plans for each and every resources, but the resources cannot see each other, right? Similarly, resources can see whatever they have assigned to themselves, but the CEO can see everything that they have in the system, right? So similar, so these all things can be controlled with the security framework, and for that we have roles, duties, privileges, all these things, and how to assign these permissions to each and everyone. So these are the things you will see with the security framework as well. Then we have security and menu extensions, how to make the extensions on the existing, security itself. So we can make the modifications on the existing roles. We can also make modifications on the menu also, to add the forms, which we have seen in the previous area. So we can do that as well. So we'll learn this security framework there. Then the workflow and the configuration. So we have the workflows in D365. So how to create the workflow? Workflows I usually workflow usually helps you understand how to utilize the resources and the flow of the execution. So somebody has to post an invoice that has the implication of the finance side. You do not want any random person to be able to post the invoice, then okay, even though the person has the authority from the security model, they can post it, but we need one person to authorize it. We do not want it to be a single person doing it, to make sure that they are not making any mistakes. So it should go to some senior, based on seniority. It should go to some other person who should be the approver, and once he approves, then it gets back to them, a person to who is actually trying to post it, and he should be able to post. So that comes under the workflow, where when you want to post a document, you have to submit the workflow. It will go to the approver. Approver approves it, and then it comes back to the person who has been submitting the workflow. And now, once it has been approved, then only this person is going to post the document. Otherwise, there might be comments like, okay, it has been rejected for some reason. So all these things will be there with the workflows. Then you have configuration keys. Based on the configuration keys, you can actually enable or disable certain functionalities in the different region. So if a configuration key is enabled in US and not in India, then what will happen that you will not be able to use that particular feature in Indian legal entities or Indian companies, but in the US companies you will be able to use it. So some features are specifically meant for the region wise, like GST. So GST in the tax system is specifically created for India. So you will not be able to use it in in the France region, or in the US or Canada, or maybe in the Australia. So you won't find that region, and they can simply control it with the configuration keys. We'll see where do we find the configuration keys here as well. Label handling at the end. So we will have the label handling also. Now, what is label handling? Whenever you are doing some development, you are giving the name of the object, which is a technical name, where you will not have the spaces, and this will not be a very big name in the backend for the field name or anything. So everything that you're creating, you have to create one particular label for it or caption for it, right? If you have created a form, then the form should have something like written over here, workflow and configuration, with the spaces and with the clear-cut readable name. This is only possible when you write it. Now, when you're writing it, you might need to write it at many places, and you cannot keep on creating. So there might be differences in the way you are writing. Someone is using W here and as uppercase, and they are using A as uppercase and C as uppercase, all three. Somebody is using W uppercase, A small, and C capital, again uppercase. Somebody is using all three lowercase. So we cannot simply keep letting people write down any way they want. We want to keep things in a standard format, in a standard way. So what we can do is we can create a label file and we will keep on setting a label with the ID. So this workflow and configuration, I will write down one at one particular place in a label file, and I'll create an ID against it. So every time I have to write the workflow and configuration, I'll simply find out in the label file whether there is an ID created against this value. If it is there, I'll simply put that ID over there. So all these labels have the same value or the same way it would be written. At the same time, if I have to modify somewhere, all will be modified at once against the reusability and the less human errors. So we'll be using the label handling over there. Coming to the point, we have the life cycle services. So we will see in the life cycle services what is the LCS, how do we use it, and how it is used for the deployment of the code, custom deployment, and the database when you have to take the database from one place to another. All these things, whatever we can do from the LCS and the environment monitoring, everything that we will learn from the LCS itself. Apart from this, if you go to this upgrade and deployment, the same thing we will be understanding. Here I'm just giving you the introduction part. The further upgrades says like we will understand how do we go from 2012 to the D365. Then how do we deploy a certain model that we have created to the next machine by generating the package and using the D360 using the LCS, and then moving the customizations to production at the end of the day. Once everything is over, what are the challenges that you might face if you are moving it to the production environment, right? Those things. At the end of the day, I will also share the references, like you were asking whether I can share some, TDDs or something. So, yep, not exactly the TDDs, but I will definitely share the YouTube resources and documentations and the community support channels which are available on the market. So you can go through those and you can understand. There will be people who can definitely help you out. And I'll let you know some blogs which are very useful and easy to understand. So you can also go through those blogs, right, to be able to, uh, complete your homework whenever I give you, or maybe even after the training is over, you might need to keep refreshing yourself with the updated values. So you can keep on using these resources so to get yourself updated with the information. So that was it. Nobody has asked me any question in between, but that's fine. You can now ask me whatever questions you have with respect to the content. Hey, hi, Amar.
Yeah, hi. I'm a functional consultant with a good knowledge of finance, SPM, and production,
Okay.
only for front end.
Mhm.
I don't have any prior knowledge in SQL and coding and anything.
Okay,
Okay.
but you do
Um,
understand
yeah,
the navigations and the process of the finance and operations.
yeah. I have a good experience in tables and everything.
Okay, so you are mostly in the production area.
No, finance as well as production. More part in
Finance
finance.
also.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So is it comfortable for
Yeah,
me to join?
that would be good. Correct. That would be good. So no, anyone who is joining, it's going to be good only. We are covering from the basics itself. I'm trying to
I have
understand if there are people who need the advanced understanding. This is what I'm trying to understand. I'm anyways going to go with the basics. So whosoever has no knowledge or very little knowledge of the technical side of the finance and operations are
yeah.
very welcome in this session. They wouldn't have any problem.
One more point that I have only basic knowledge like select table and drop out
That
drop
is
table.
fine.
Like
No worries. I will showcase everything in the sessions. We'll learn how
okay,
to do that.
okay.
Thanks, Mar.
Thank you.
And I have done some developments with AX 2009 about 15 years ago. And after that, I have been working as a support consultant for Dynamics. And I want to get my hands into development and integrations with D365 Finance and Operations. Thank you.
That's great. So, anyways, it would be easy for you to grasp all these things since you have already worked on 2009. That means you know the basics of the X++ and the OOPS concepts. So it'd be easy to for you. There's no a drastic change, but yeah, definitely they have changed their way of coding in the online version or the you can say cloud version. We will understand that in our trainings. So yeah, Naveen, you were saying
So
something.
yeah, Himanshu, good morning. So I'm working from 2014 in AX only. So this is actually I want to understand all the integration part actually. So
All the
like
integrations part.
yeah, I
Okay.
mean like suppose this business event also and through the logic app also and BYOD. I mean, what are the patterns currently we are? I mean, in the market currently we are using in the for the client in the live perspective. So if there is any guidance and
We will be covering a few, but Power Apps and Logic Apps are usually considered into a different training sessions usually,
okay,
right?
okay,
Because that's a different topic altogether. We can cover the data entities and BYOD that is there. You will
okay.
definitely go through it.
And
I can give you a
custom
glance
service.
of custom
Some
services. So custom services, I can tell you how to build the services, right? You will have
okay,
to practice on your own because service
okay.
building on a class session would be a very lengthy process,
Yes, yes.
right? So I can show you how the services are being built, but you have to do your homework for this particular part. And these are like the custom services will go with the complete MVC process, and it might somewhere require the .NET also. So you have to have some prior knowledge to the .NET as well. Since there are many places where you have to work along with the .NET in case you are building your custom services.
So is
Right.
there any after? Okay, I will join the session. But at the end of session,
Mhm.
is there any possibility to maybe some TDDs for if you have, so I can just exercise on that. I mean, some
No,
TDDs.
no worries. I will definitely be sharing some blogs with you. You can go through the blogs, and if you have any queries, you can definitely. You're always welcome to reach out to me. Right.
Okay,
Those are the things that we can do. But during the sessions, it would be slightly difficult because there are other people, and we might be working along with all. Right.
yeah, okay, okay, got it. So we can start. We can start now.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Let me. Uh, Hello. Sorry, I was talking on mute. I'm sharing my screen. Is it visible to you guys?
Yes.
Thanks for the confirmation. So,
Everything is explained very well. Okay. My point is is there any covering you are covering APIs as well, or
what kind of APIs you are looking for? So,
no,
APIs could
how
be
to
created
APIs?
various ways.
Yeah, I don't know,
So,
but
OData APIs are there.
if
We have
no, I need
mentioned
to
the.
take get the data from another software. Okay,
So you can do that
365. So I
with
need
the
to
OData services.
yeah. Okay, okay.
So you
This will
get the
cover in
data
all
from.
data services, right?
Yeah, you can do this with the OData services. So there are many ways. That's what I'm saying. Like APIs are endless. API is like whenever you're creating some endpoint where the customer can or the third party can call it and push the data
Yes.
to your system is the API, right?
Yeah. Right.
Now you can create API in way too many ways. One of them is OData. So we are providing OData APIs through the data entities. This helps, and you can simply give this OData URL to the third party software.
Mm.
Then they can start calling this and pushing the data in the JSON format. When they will
Okay.
push the data in JSON format, your system will read this data, and you can do the data transformation at the time of receiving as well. And this is going to be real-time synchronization of the data. Okay. If
Okay.
you right, so if this is how you would wish that we will be seeing this data importing using the OData services. But if you say like I have something else to do, right? The custom APIs that you want to create, then custom APIs like you have to create your own code. You have to create your own method. So I will teach you how to create the classes. You just have to turn them to the services. So for services,
Okay.
you would have to use some tags. You have the attributes, right? You have to use
Okay.
the service class attributes, and once you do that, whatever the methods that the I would say data methods that you would expose for the API connections. So like not all the methods of the class can be exposed for the data APIs, right? So whatever the methods you are going to expose, those will be utilized by the third parties, and for that you have to use the URL. One URL will be there with you for the custom APIs. You can give it to them, and more like you can also give them this URL and the class names. So they will use your class name and the URL. Through the URL, they have the class name, and then you have to tell them the methods that you have, created for them to be consumed. Right. So that's how you can do that. You can also create the local APIs for your learning purpose, and mostly the APIs can be used with this in the .NET with the this WCP. Okay.
Okay.
So those are the things that we can do where you create your and then you create the DLL and add it as a reference, and then in this reference you will have the methods which can be used to transform your data, which are available in C Sharp, but not in your ERPs, D365. So there are many ways of the API. So that's why I'm asking, like, we're looking for
Okay. I don't know. I
local
don't have
data.
any
We have
idea.
no, that's fine. If you do not have the requirement, you are only looking
Only
for
one
the
scenario.
integration.
I can explain you the scenario that there is a quality software. Okay. In quality
Mm,
software, there is a test results. Okay.
okay.
So in once the data entry is posted in the D365, the data should fetch from D365 and push to that software. And once the user will fill the detail on that software, the software will again push back to D365. That is a simple process, and we need to
Okay.
set it
So,
in API.
um, yeah, you can do that. But my question first is, why are we using the third-party quality when we have the quality management in our own
In
ERP?
Yeah, in D365 the quality management is not so good. Okay, there's a
Okay.
lots of the limitation in quality management, so most of the
Mhm.
company do not wants to implement the quality management in for D365.
Inside the
So
ERP.
they,
Okay, understand. So you want the gate entry related information and the also the registration related information, right?
yeah,
The lines that
gate
you have
entry item
registered.
number.
So gate entry is only for see, gate entry will not have the very too many details, right? When you are creating a gate
Yeah,
entry,
only
you
I.
will be creating a date entry against the purchase order. Mostly that is how you
Okay,
are doing inward gate
yeah,
entry. Then you have the outward gate entry where you are actually exporting the data against the sales orders,
correct.
right?
Mm,
So if you have, I'm just taking an example of inward gate entry. When the truck is getting inside your warehouse, at that time you will have this information recorded, right? And that at that point
yeah.
of time you have the information about the purchase orders that they have used, against
Mm,
which purchase order this item is coming, right? Once you have
yeah.
it, you will do the registration. As soon as do the registration of the lines or the items that you are going to receive, one quality order gets generated. Now, at this point of time, you are saying that I want the information against this purchase order and the gate entry or the truck details, whatever I have got. You can do the same thing with the OData APIs as well as you can do the same thing with the regular data entities. You just have to push the data. So we can
Okay,
exchange the data at the file-based exchange. So in the file-based exchange, what we can do is we can use the data entity to export the data. So they will have this information. They can place the data in some certain folder, and then this folder can be used to consume the data by the other application. For that, you would need the way of placing the data is coming from the C sharp, something called the RENCI DLLs. So if you will use the RENCI DLL, you will be able to place the data into the SFTP folder if they are using the file-based protocols. So SFTP folder will be consuming this information, and they can their third-party software can consume the data, and they can use it in the quality management. They can again place the data back into the SFTP with the acknowledgement and or the response, and you can read it from there. That's one way. Again, the second thing is the OData services, where it would be further easier. They can simply run a get information. So they will get the information directly from the tables or the data entity you have created. Once they fetch this information, They got about the get entry details and everything. They work on it. Once they have done, they can push the data against using the OData services. You might provide them another data service, so to which they are going to push the data in the JSON format, and you will have the record created in the data management. Now, how to deal with this data is your job.
Yeah.
But data will come to the system.
Okay. And one more point, that for using master planning, there is some customization needed for enabling the planning optimization, right?
We might not be covering the planning optimization here. That
No,
is an advanced topic. Yeah, please.
No, I'm not talking about the master planning and planning optimization. I'm just telling you that there is some little bit change need to be done by technical team. Okay, to use the front end in master planning. Okay, so that is the very little change. I don't know what is the changes need to be done for using the planning optimization. The technical needs team is doing some little bit change, approximately 10 minutes work, and after that the master planning will be enabled. Without this, master planning cannot be run in front end. So if you no issue,
It cannot be.
you can check it.
Saying that they cannot run it without the customization. That's not how it works.
Correct.
All the standard processes provided by Microsoft will work automatically without the customization. No customizations required. This master planning is part of the standard project product, and you are not. I mean, you do not need any customization unless you are doing something which requires customization, because Microsoft is providing you ERP which is end-to-end working product. Cannot force you to customize something to be able to run it on your particular system. So when you can go with the vanilla implementation of the project with whatever Microsoft provides, and that should be more than sufficient for you. So if you are saying that
you are right. You are right.
Requires customization, that means definitely there's something your development team is doing apart from the standard what they have.
Previously, the master planning was classical master planning. Once the version 39, I think. Okay, at the time of version 39 upgradation, there is the Microsoft enables the feature that is planning optimization. For using the planning optimization, they need some customization to link the master planning module to planning optimization.
Then that would be a configuration rather customization. Okay, some configuration,
by technical team only.
Maybe not on. It might come to the technical team, but it would still be configuration. So it might be configured through the Power Platforms, or maybe from some other place, probably from admin center, or maybe from the LCS. Somewhere else, you might have to do some sort of configuration that you cannot do, right? Some setup. So even for the Power Platform integration, you cannot do it, right, as a functional. Somebody from the technical team has to go to LCS and they have to do it. But again, it is not a customization, right? So that's what I'm trying to understand. It's a configuration at the end of the day.
Okay, no issue. Can you get more about that point, because
which point?
So if possible.
Okay. That one we will understand. So it's like I'll give you some blog where they have discussed this, because it is not in the favor of everyone who will be there in the training sessions. So I'll give you some blog that you can go through and understand. If you have any query, you can ask me separately.
Okay, no issue.
Does anyone else has any question for me?
I have one doubt. Can a fresher learn this D365 technical, or else only for experienced people only?
No, it's a start from the beginning. That's why when we started the course, we told you like we will go through each and every item from the scratch. So it's very much for the beginners. That's what I'm telling again and again. So wherever we see people are discussing about these very complex topics, those we will be only covering with the blogs, and whenever they have any queries, we will simply help them out with the queries that they have. During our sessions, we will go with the scratch, and we will see it for the beginners to the intermediate.
Hello, Mr.
Okay. There is any setup and prerequisites like architecture modules for
Yeah, we can go
programming?
through this. I think if you have gone through my session, so it is started from here only. The purpose of the D365 and the evolution that it has seen, the architecture, the setup of server, cloud-based model pros and cons, right? We are seeing all the key differentiators, how it is working with the Azure and like what are the licensing model it uses. Then we will go through the reportings and all, right? See, we are going through and how we see it from the classic model view or regular model view, what is how do we integrate with the Visual Studio, all these things are there, right? So we are very much going through the beginner to intermediate itself.
Okay, okay. Uh, Everything and completely in detail.
Right. But we will also be giving you homework, so you just have to finish that work as well.
Okay.
Because in a 1 hour session you might not get everything right, so I'll teach you the concepts. You have to go home, you have to work on it, and have to come back with more queries. So I will give you enough time to ask me questions and I'll answer your queries, definitely. But I need you guys to go through the sessions that we will have in the in our sessions daily, and you go to home and just work out some of it, so you will find more errors. You might find this difference that when I'm doing the coding I'm not getting the errors, but when you do the coding you might see more errors coming up,
Yes, yes.
and then you will get the error. You come to me, I'll tell you why this error comes and how to fix it, and this is how you will learn, right?
Okay.
If you will keep on going through the same thing that I'm doing, then you might not get the error and you might be going very good at the end. You might face some issues like now when the sessions are over and I'm not able to do this and that. So it's
Okay.
always good that during the session of it, during this training, you do the work at your end as well.
Mhm.
Sir, could you provide the environment?
Yes, so Visualpath, the training company that you are actually dealing with, they will definitely provide you the environments. Those will be on-premise environments. They will be providing you to learn this. So, yep, you will have these environments with you for the training purpose.
So instead of providing the visual path, is there any way to like
Self-procure it.
yeah, no, no, not procure it. There is a something like for 3 to 4 month
That
demo
we
environment.
that you can go with this. That's solely on the Microsoft. Okay, you can go to the Microsoft standard URLs. There you can figure out there are certain conditions, and based on that you will simply be able to have your own machine for some time. You can figure out, that's the standard process. If you need some help from me that time, I'll tell you where to go exactly. But that's up to Microsoft. Like if they take away your environment in between, we won't have any say in it.
Okay, okay.
Do we get this document that what are or the topics to be covered in this course and what is the time period?
I think Visual Path is going to share it with you. The time period is going to be the 40 sessions, 40. Okay, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure sometimes it increases from 40 to 42, 44. It never goes down to 39.
Will it be weekly or every
Uh,
day?
it is every day. Weekly 40 sessions would be year long, right?
Ah, okay. No, I'm just asking because of the time constraint. I need to
Yeah.
plan
So
accordingly.
it would be weekdays and not the
Okay.
weekends.
Okay. And we will get all the documentation related to this course.
Whatever we will go through, anyways, when I'll be teaching you, there would be a very less requirements of the documents during that time. But if you are still looking for documents, I'll suggest you some references to go through online and just search those to learn better. At the same time, we will also be recording all the sessions. So whenever you feel you are stuck somewhere and you just have to go through that, so the sessions will be there with you. You can simply have a look at it, and you simply be able to, figure out what are you missing or something like that. So you have the recordings, you will have the documents, online docs.
Okay. And what are the like certifications we will be able to do once we are done with this course?
Once you're done with the course, you should target MB 300. Okay. It's the elementary certificate for the D365 technical. So you have to do with that. Once you are done with that, and you have some experience of like couple of years or something, then people go for the MB 500. With 8 to 10 years of experience, people go with the MB 700. So you have to go accordingly. So MB 300 is the certificate that I would suggest you to focus on. But for that also you have to keep studying. So there is a separate there's one more for the D365, sorry, this MB 300 also, you have a course content. You have to go through that, and they will also provide you the mock test. You can go through those, and then you will understand for the MB 300 as well. So
So
this is about
it is from
certificate.
the Microsoft Learn.
Microsoft only, correct.
Yeah,
Microsoft
yeah,
Learn. You will
yeah.
figure out.
Okay. So before we start the course, because for me at least, I don't have any experience into the development or this technical thing because I was working with the Dynamics projects, but into completely into the management thing. I worked into data migration activities for some of the projects, but I was core working as an SDM into AEM projects, not the implementation.
Okay.
So, do you suggest me to prepare myself before I start this course to be able to understand or, in a better way? So, is there
Like I
any
said,
that I
I'll
need to
be anyways
prepare?
doing it right. So anyways, I'll be taking it from the very beginning, like from the scratch itself. But
Okay,
I still, if you are planning to learn and learn better, so I would suggest you to just go through something like the concepts of object-oriented programming language.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
so you should know the basics of the language, right? The OOPS concepts. How does it work? What are classes? What are tables, views? If you know the
Yeah,
very basics of it, because that would be useful when we'll say that okay, now we are going to create one SSRS report. So we have already taught you how to create a class, but if
mm,
you know what are the classes exactly and how the variables are being used in the different functions, what are the functions inside the class, it would
yeah,
be very useful for you and you will be able to grasp it fast.
okay, okay,
So just prepare with the OOPS concepts.
yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Thank you so much. Yep.
Are we doing any source control stuff?
Source control. I can show you, but I don't think that we have we have all these licenses available for us to go through all these Azure DevOps exactly. But yep, I will show you if it is required. I'll tell you how do we do it. If you have any queries, you please come back to me. I'll help you figure it out. So in the source control, you are trying to understand whether you are able to check in the code and take it further with building of the pipelines, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'll help you out understanding if there is any gap for you, specifically if you have any use case in your day-to-day life in your work. I will help you out understanding that. Not an issue.
Thank you.
I have one question about Power App integrations. Are we covering this?
Like I said, the Power Apps would be into a separate training altogether. So I doubt that we might not be, covering the Power Apps integrations here. If you have any question regarding the Power Apps integration, you can ask me. I will be able to answer. So it's the same thing that I'm telling everyone, that if you have any specific question, you can definitely ask me. I'll be able to help you out with that. But specifically, we'll not be covering it here because then it won't be possible for us to cover the entire training itself in 40 or maybe in 50 sessions also. And that's a separate topic. I have to give the entire overview of the Power Apps, and then only I'll be able to show you how to integrate with the Power Apps.
Okay. What about this X++ coding? Yani what extent we can learn from this course?
So
What is the breakdown? I mean,
if I say what is the breakdown, I will start with the basics of how to create a class. That's one. Then how to in the class, what kind of operations that you can do, that is the CRUD operations that you usually do on the tables, right? The create, read, or update, delete. We will also learn how to do the transactional databases, like when you are creating when you are updating the data or when you're deleting the data, you have to use the
yeah,
TTS begin commits, right? Then we will go to
CRUD
the
operations.
correct, operations required. So not all of the CRUD are actually transactional, changes. Update and delete are usually transactional. Insert, it does not require any TTS begin or commit. And the same goes for the read. Anyways, you do not need it. Especially when you are manipulating the data, you would need it. So that's for update and delete mostly. Apart from this, whenever we will also learn the exception handling, there you will learn how to catch the errors and to make sure if there are any deadlocks, how to retry. Okay, that's one. Then once
And
this is the
I
basic thing
think
is
there is
completed, we will do
like form classes, there are
correct.
table classes, all these things.
Right.
We will learn everything about the X++ coding, or we have just
So when we create the forms, that time we will show you how to create the forms. Once we have created the forms, we'll show you, a few set of methods. The class of the form gets created automatically when you create a form itself, right?
yeah. What is the
Then you have to
differentiation between the form classes and table classes? And in which scenario we can use this? We can extend this class or this class, and we will know
you
by this course.
obviously you will know this. Obviously, you will know this because when we will go through the entire process, you will see when we are going through the entire process, we will create the form. Once we'll create the form, you will learn how to create a form. Then we'll show you how to update this forms items through the code. Right. It could be init method, active method, execute query method, right? So there are many methods that you can use inside the form, click method. But we will be covering very useful methods. Okay, because in the form you have like more than 50 or 60 methods to override. We cannot cover all of these in the classes. We will
But
tell you how
some
to
of
use
them,
it. Right.
yeah,
Some of them will be used. Some of them will be used for the classes and the form classes. Some of them for the table. Tables specifically, what do you use basically? Insert, update, validate, write. Correct? Or modified. The methods that you usually use in the table. So we will see this. When it comes to form classes, what do you usually use? Init, active, execute query, right? Click. Correct. So those are the
yes.
methods that we will see here and the forms. You will understand. I definitely I show you guys that this is the list of all the methods. Now you explore and you start learning. How does it work?
Flow customization is not there.
Workflow is here. Workflow customization, there are two ways, right? So workflow customization is like, are you asking from the code? You want to create the workflow
Yes,
from
yes,
the very basic.
yes.
Then we will show you basics of the workflow creation because workflow has a very it's a very long process to test and to create. So I will create one custom form, and on that custom form I'll create one workflow and show it to you how this workflow works. Again, you guys have to explore. So in 1 hour class we cannot cover too much in depth, but that is your part to go in depth and come back to me with the questions. Make sense?
Can I have the course content? Any what
No, you can definitely you can check with the Visualpath team. They will give you the content which is required for this particular training.
Okay. How can I test the environment if I'm working as an online? Yani I cannot come to the environment direct to the visual part. So how can I have the access to the environment?
I did not get your question. You're saying that
How
you
can
will
I
not go
practice?
to the
How can I practice?
you will be given one environment, right, to practice.
It is on premises or online for the online users. I mean,
For online users also, on-premise does not mean that it will be with the Visualpath team. On-premise means they will install it on your machine.
okay.
Your machine will become a server for this.
So I have to be get prepared for the machine and laptop with me with
Yeah,
a
you have to have a
specific
laptop for this,
configuration.
right? The configuration that the technical team will decide, they will let you know. But I think it would require 8 GB of the RAM, which I guess most of the people have it nowadays. So that would be there. You have
Okay.
to run the Visual Studio and the IS process will run. So obviously it would take some toll on the laptop server. So just make sure that you have at least 8 GB of RAM available in the machine.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Yeah. Anyone else with the questions? So if we do not have any more questions, we'll wrap up this session. Thank you so much, guys.
Timing.
Yep.
One last question. What is the timing? What are the
Visualpath will decide, and because the timing would be once everyone agrees to a particular time. Based on that, we have to come up with a time. So Visualpath will decide the time.
Okay.
I will also talk to them, and they will share this information with you.
You will be only teaching, sir?
Yes, I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be the person doing this. I mean, training you guys.
Visualpath, like that
Uh,
sandbox
Mhm.
environment they will provide, like.
Yes, they will provide you the sandbox environments for you to do the practice.
Yes, yes.
By the way, I did not introduce myself. So, hi, this is Himanshu, and I have over 10 years of experience working in D365 finance and operations. And I have worked with Accenture and Microsoft, and currently serving, in the freelancing and other projects. So, yeah, so that's me. And yeah, I'll be the one who will be taking the training sessions. Okay, guys. So we'll wrap up this call. Thank you so much for joining the call and make it interactive.